So this word is precinct. Sorry if you're diving into the recording. We were already talking. A precinct is your voting area. So it's kind of like your neighborhood. So think of your neighborhood and a few neighborhoods that are right around you. That's your precinct. So all the people that I saw at my polling place yesterday are like my neighbors because they all like have to live in the same space as me to be in the same precinct as me. Sorry, this should be date. So I'm watching the election and cannot believe that this typo or this error has slipped past. And what are we doing today? Markups and Markdown. No, and I thought of it. Like, what could I do to reach out? And that's not my problem really. Nobody really cares that much. So I'm watching. And one of the other things I wanted to show you guys about the election is when people talk about their vote not mattering, 71 votes was at this time. Now, there's a lot of math on this. 12% of Michigan was reporting at this point. So 12% of the state had sent their votes in, they had been counted. But at that point, 282,000, over 500,000 people had voted. And the difference was only 71 votes. Less than the 7th grade class at Phoenix was the difference between them. Now, the difference got bigger as more votes came in. But guys, if you say your vote doesn't matter, you're just making excuses. Every single vote matters because it comes down to very tight, very close races. And the other thing, so I'm watching and watching and watching. And so this 200% had already happened. That is not what I was looking for. 2,200% of the people had voted. What? This is impossible. 2,200%. This is like when we talk about percentages and I say you can't give over 100% effort. You can't actually perform above 100% because that's everything. 100% of precincts would be everybody. 2,200%. Somebody made a boo-boo. Somebody probably got in big trouble at NBC because whoever was generating these, I kind of call the thing at the bottom the ticker. Like if you watch ESPN, it's always rolling sports and whatever. So this ticker that they had, somebody was typing in these numbers and they typed it in wrong. That, or there was a decimal in the wrong place, or the keyboard goofed up, or who knows what happened, but that was a major mistake that I super nerded out, leapt out of my chair, grabbed the remote, rewound it, paused the TV, took a picture. My wife and my sister-in-law were judging me the whole time. That's my life. Huh? Yeah, they're like, why are you such a nerd? And I said, well, 200%, guy. So I got really excited about the 200%. Then when the 2,200 came on, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I seriously thought, there's a bit in my head that thinks, somebody was having a very long night, and they were like, I wonder if anyone will notice. And they just decided to, screw with it. Because that doesn't actually matter. I was concerned to show this to you guys because I was waiting for someone to be like, oh, voter fraud, it's rigged. None of that matters. That's just what somebody typed in. That does not have to do with the real results. So, funny things in math that we find out in the world, always feel free that if you see those sort of things or people have made mistakes or signs that say the wrong stuff or math that doesn't make sense, please snap a picture and send it my way because I have a folder on my, in my computer that is just math pictures and these are now getting added to it that this was ridiculous. Apparently 200% of the precincts showed up. They all voted twice. No. So now we're estimating. We did talk about this yesterday, but for those of you who didn't write it down, if we want to estimate, we want to make the numbers easier to work with. So remember, and especially if you don't have this written down, my formula for percent change is what? How do I calculate my percent change? Abby?
Isn't it change over previous?
Yeah, it is my change amount over the previous amount.
The original.
You can say original. It's just kind of dangerous to use that because you can get yourself confused. So here, what would be the change of my sunflower? By the way, I should have taken pictures of this. My mom grew sunflowers this year. They were taller than me. They were huge. Sunflowers get really big. Andrew?
About 90%.
Ooh, be careful. The amount of change, I agree, is 9. Right? It went from 11 to 20, 9. But then, and you're right, you're very, very close. We're just getting there. If I was being accurate, I'd do 9 over 11. But we don't want to be accurate. We want to estimate and make life easy. What number would be a lot easier to work with than 11? Anthony? 10. So if I make my 11 a 10 and say, yeah, this is right about 10, we'll just let it be that way to make life easy, then Andrew's answer of 90% is exactly true. Now this, I would then encourage you, and I don't know if I said this yesterday, use a squiggly equals. Why am I using a squiggly equals? Hayden, and your notes are on the board right beside you, by the way. Because you apparently lost your notes and did not realize it. So, Hayden, why do I use a squiggly? Yeah, I'm not being precise. So I use squiggly equals to say, I estimated I'm close. Take those. Those are yours. I don't want them. Now, if we did this accurately, and what I want to see if anyone remembers, what is our rule when we divide by 11? I can't tell if that's a hand or not. I have so many maybe hands. Izzy? Multiply the numerator by 9. So this would actually, I was going to write it in decimal form first, but this would turn into 81.81 repeating forever. So this is actually an 82% increase. But when we rounded and we estimated, it's about 90. We're close enough. Abby? Well, yeah, so this as a, because I put the percent sign on here, so this would first be 0.81 repeating forever, but then when I make it a percent, it's 81.81, and this still, the 81s repeat forever, but then we can round it up to 82. But we're not rounding this value. We're saying if we never did any of what I wrote in red, if we never did that, and we immediately made the math easier to work with, which is what you will honestly do out in the real world when like you're an adult and figuring out these sort of like application problems. You're not going to think about 9 compared to 11. In your head, you'll be like, well, 11's right about 10, and that's a lot easier to do. And then we just do that math. So estimate, so not using a calculator, estimate for your balloon change in size. Because you can do that on the paper. I don't even know why we do these little paper things. Well, it's on him. He wasn't just like hanging out somewhere else. What is my amount of change? Maylee, did you figure out your amount of change yet? So, in my head, when I look at this, I, for a moment, think of my 65 as a 60. What if 120 went all the way down to 60? Well, then that change is easy to think about. It'd be 60. Because I know 60 and 60 makes 120. But it doesn't go all the way down to 60. It only goes to 65, which makes my change 55. Now, if I was doing this accurately, my previous was 120. How can I make these numbers easier to work with? I can change either one I want because I'm estimating. I'm just trying to get close. How can I change one of these numbers to make it easier to work with? Atticus, what do you think? Which of those, if you were trying to make it easy math? What would you change? What number into what number? So we could change 55. We could go down and do 50 over 120. I still don't know that that's that easy, though, because, I mean, I could reduce this to 5 over 12. I might be able to work with that. Or, I mean, I could do the long division. It's just still not that easy. And I'm lazy today. I don't want to do that. CJ? What if we made it 60 over 120? Then stacked zeros can cancel out, and this becomes what percent? Yeah, Andrew?
50%.
Just 50%. So approximately 50%. Now, we know it didn't actually go down by 60. It only went down by 55. So if you wanted to try to get a little closer, you could say, if I was to guess, I'm not quite 50, so maybe it's like 48% or something close. We could then just approximate within those values. I have my squigglies over here. Because 50% is 6/12. But this is where I'm approximating. Between this is not quite equal to this, I made it close. So do the last one for the money. Your percent change, you had $130. You now have 100. Say you went and bought a new game or something. Did I give you guys the 5-6 notes yet?
No.
Or 3-6 notes yet? I'm just going to pass them out because you guys should be doing this. Pass them back, please. Back, please. Who can walk me through how we do this? Abby, what'd you do?
So 130, it's kind of hard to do 120 by 130, right?
Well, so the first thing we got to think about is change, right? Not percent.
It changed by 30.
Yeah, so my change, first thing I think about is we changed by 30. We went down. Guys, can we quit screwing with each other? Like, I don't want to have to separate you because that's really childish, but you're acting like a child. So either adjust your behavior or adjust your location. Please don't make me do it for you. Continue. Sorry about the disrespect.
So after that, wouldn't you do 30 over 100?
Ooh, so I agree. Change over.
Previous.
What was my previous?
130.
130. Now again, that number's not real easy to work with.
So wouldn't you want to make that isn't it like 100? Wouldn't you want to make it over?
Now that would be like tweaking far. Like if I made my 130 100, that's kind of a far jump to estimate. So I feel like that would skew my numbers. Is there anything else? If we took it up to 150, I could. That's still kind of. 115. Does 30 divide by 115 really easy? To 115, not 150, 115.
Wouldn't that be 2?
No, we're estimating. Don't pass him a calculator. Shane? What if we do 30 over 120? And then again, stacked zeros can cancel, and I get 3 over 12, which can reduce down. What's 3/12 reduced to? 1/4, which becomes approximately 25%. Any questions? Who is not going to be here tomorrow because the band trip? Yeah, when I looked at the list, that's what I thought.
There's like 40
So,
people in the
yeah, there's like there is essentially half the school going on that trip, I think. Like, pretty close. So, tomorrow, if you're here, the guest teacher is going to have these assessments for you. Your Chapter 2, Proportional Relationships, even though I know you've been working in Chapter 3. We've talked about this. So, these assessments are what you're going to be working on Thursday and Friday. Now, I know that assessment takes 2 days. Like, I budget 2 days for it. So, those of you that, like, I budget 2 days so that you can get done with it. I know that 1 day is not quite long enough. 2 days is more than enough time. So, you guys can use calculators. Like, that's all good. I've got all that stuff in my sub-plans. But if you miss Thursday, then Friday, you'll be starting the assessment when you show up. So, you will not get done with it, and that's fine. We will take care of that Monday. I will give you guys more time in class on Monday. My flight lands at 10:30 at night, so I'm going to be tired anyways. Thank you. So, don't freak out when you don't get your test done. Just turn it in. You can put NF on it if you want, but I'm not going to grade it because I'm not here. So, if this is because I trust you guys and I've never met this guest teacher before. All that I'm asking them to do is distribute the tests and have you guys take the test. So what I'm asking you to do is you know how to behave. So there's going to be a very small amount of you here, which can sometimes be really nice and can sometimes be like kind of awkward and weird and kids like act up and then they want to like talk and whatever else. So you're taking a mastery assessment. You are not talking with each other. You guys know how to behave, right? We're good? So I'm going to get a report from that guest teacher because they're here for 2 days. It's the same person. I'm going to get a report that you guys behaved well and you took your masteries and, yeah? It is not. Yes. Be responsible 7th graders. Thank you. So, moving on. Percent markups and markdowns. This happens like all over the place and you guys just don't realize it. And this is why we're talking about Phoenix Fair, to teach you guys some of this stuff. Who's doing Phoenix Fair? Who that wants to tell me what you're making? Okay. Lily, what are you making for Phoenix Fair? You're making cookies in a jar. What does it cost you to make the cookies in the jar? Like, have you done that, the plan?
For every single thing, it was like $75.
So per jar thing, what do you think it will cost you? How many jar things does that make?
It makes 36. No, it makes
36 is 3 dozen, if that's what you're thinking.
no, it's like 36 plus 15. 40.
51.
51.
So it makes 51 jars. So if that math is right, so don't trust me because I haven't looked at your whole plan. If that math is right, that costs you like $1.50 per jar for ingredients and whatever else. Are you going to sell it for $1.50? Why? Hey Hayden, go ahead and move yourself. You're just not making good choices sitting there next to your peers. Like, am I wrong? Okay. So what I would prefer is that I don't have to ask you to move yourself. So why are you not selling it for $1.50?
Because it would be more expensive. It would be less expensive for the smaller ones.
Well, and what if you just sold it for $1.50? Then you wouldn't make any money. So the point of markups is to make money. Now, what's the point of a markdown? Julia?
To get people to want to buy it. So if something was originally $60 and then you put like below it on the price tag that it's now $30, they're going to want to buy it more because they know that you changed the price.
Yeah. And this is a strategy that a lot of you guys don't necessarily think of beforehand. If Phoenix Fair is not going as you had planned and you're not selling as much as you wanted to, you can discount your price during the fair. So if you have a price marked and it's not selling, like let's say you're selling stuff for, let's say you decide to sell your jars for $3, right? So $3 is going to make her a $1.50 profit so she can pay back the $1.50 that it was initially. But if things are not selling well for Lily, she could put up a sign, all items now 20% off. And she could reduce her price by 20%, and that would encourage sales because she's made her price cheaper, and people love feeling like they're getting a good deal. Abby?
Like, is that kind of like also like buy one get one free? Is that like different?
that would be like saving 50%. So if I buy one and I get one free, I really paid like half for each of them. So you could kind of say that was like 50% off.
Or is that more like something else?
So technically, what you're asking, no, that does not have to do with percentages. Because you're not saving a percent. You're buying one, paying normal price, and then you're getting one for free.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
If I could buy one for 50% off, for like half price, then that's like a markdown. So I've done this for you for an example problem here. So the change in price, guys, again, we're still using the same formula. Like I said, trying to make your life easy, not asking you to do a bunch of crazy stuff, just different application. The change in the price is the amount of markup. When we talk about markup, we could be asking about the dollars or we could be asking about the percents. So my markup amount was $12 from my $16 to my $28. Divided by the previous price of 16, I calculate it out and I get my percent. Any questions with how we find a percent markup? Sweet. Let's try it. So in this table down here, we have a notebook, a car, and a bike. Now, one principle about marking things up is like percentages determine parts based off the whole. Like we've got that formula, part equals percent times whole. So as my whole gets bigger, like the price of the car, if I'm still doing the same markup percentages, that's going to be a lot. So let's compare what's the markup percentage here on the notebook, the markup percentage on the bicycle, and the markup percentage on the car. So let's do one of these together, then I'll have you guys do the bike and the car. So, Kylie's out. Jack.
Out.
No, Jack is there in the Jurassic Park shirt. Awesome shirt, by the way, dude. Throwback to the original Jurassic Park. Jack, if I want to find percent change, or in this case now, percent markup, what's my markup in that situation? Like, how do I figure that out? Yeah, you always can. Yep. Nope, she's gone. Julia, how do I find my markup amounts? Not percentage, just how do I find the price increase, essentially? Yeah, I do the subtraction. So on your paper, please, your numerator is going to be $1.50 minus the 25 cents. The new price minus what the price, like what it costs us to bring it in. Then we're going to divide by what the price was. So my denominator, Abby, is the 25 cents. Now this becomes $1.25 divided by 25 cents. How many quarters are in $1.25? 5, right? So is my markup percent 5%? What do I have to do to that? CJ? I gotta move the decimal point 2 places over or multiply by 100 to get me to my percent. They marked up the price of that pencil by 500%. But it was super cheap. Sorry, you have a question? Oh, notebook, sorry. It was super cheap to begin with, so they were able to mark it up by a lot. Now, if we mark up the car price by 500%, I think someone's going to care. Someone's like, or really just they won't buy it. That's just what will happen. So you gotta figure out how much can I mark it up and still be able to sell it. So try the bicycle and the car on your own. You guys can work in partners or with people close by you.
been swinging yet. They're making me do like 2 100s and 2 200s.
You'll be okay. You got this.
No, like I didn't get to swim Saturday and Sunday.
What? Oh, she's just racing. Oh, you need notes. Dude, why? Like, you know where notes are? Dude, never, like, I feel really bad. Never feel like you need to write things, like, use the notes. You're going to waste a whole lot of time trying to write everything down. The stuff I want you to write down is the work that you do. Hey, look. Yep, because it's divided by the previous price.
Wait, when 300?
Make sure we take it all the way to percent form. So, Lily, ironically enough. So, Lily just talked through her process with me, but go ahead and repeat what you said a tiny bit slower.
I did 300 subtracted by 180, and I got to 120. So then I would do 120 divided by 180, which is 0.6.
So, when I multiply that by 100 to convert into percent form,
How do you get to 120?
we did the subtraction. The difference between them, so 300 minus 180. So we want to know the change in the price, how much it marked up by. So we just subtract them. Question? Yeah, so what's this turn into as percent? Yeah, 0.6 forever, so we can round up and say this would be 67% if I round it. Then our last one here.
I do not have
Casey, what is the markup amount on the car? You're good. So from 8 to 12. 4. So since they're thousands, it's 4,000. What was the price initially? 8,000. Make your life easy. Stacked zeros can disappear. So this is really 4/8, which is really 1/2, which is really 50%.
I'm even right that. I'm like 400 over 8,000. 4,000 over 8,000.
What do you mean? So the price went up by 4,000. We're talking about the increase amount compared to what it was. So if I go up 4,000 compared to an initial 8,000, the amount I increased is half or 50% of what I started with. So they'll make money on the notebook and they'll make money on the car. They'll make more money on the car even though they marked it up by a smaller percentage because it starts at a larger value already. Questions on any of these? This is true information. Flight tickets change constantly. Like literally every day, ticket prices change. So as the flight gets closer, they normally get more expensive. So if it costs the airline $310 to have that available, that seat on that flight, the fuel, the food, the whatever, the people they got to pay, $310. They sell it for $550. Let's figure out the percent markup on that ticket. Is anyone confident enough that you can walk me through the whole thing? Justin?
Yeah, so we're going to do 550 divided by 310, or minus 310. Right. And that's 240.
240.
Alright, so then we put that over 310. Alright, so then we're going to divide 240 by 310.
I love your thinking voice when you're like, all right, and then, all right. So I hate typing things I don't need to. Like, I'm really I don't like the word lazy. I try to be as efficient as possible. So immediately, I'm thinking, really, I can do 24 over 31. If you have stacked zeros, don't even waste your time typing it. Chop them off. Make it easy. Then, what comes out to be your percent, Justin? 77% increase.
Wait.
Yeah.
So this isn't like plane. I thought like plane tickets were like $1,000.
They can be, depending on where you're going. I don't know exactly what we paid, but we bought our tickets for California like 2 months ago. There's a certain window that they suggest buying your ticket in. But we got a pretty good price. It was, I'll check with my wife and I'll get back to you guys on what we actually paid for that.
Like I get our tickets like 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
Now that is kind of close, like to only be 2 to 3 weeks out. Yeah, it might be more expensive at that point. And then sometimes you have like miles that you can cash in from your credit card and whatever.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't.
Yeah. Hayden? I fly whatever's cheap. So we are on split flights on the way out and the way back. It's United and Southwest. So I'm on a United plane, then we have a layover, then I'm on a Southwest plane. Then on the way back, I'm on a Southwest plane, layover, United plane. Yeah, if you go international, there's not as many flights, so you gotta buy your tickets far out.
Yeah, we had to do a layover.
Because you're going international. My brother said apparently the best airline he's ever flown on, and he travels for business a lot, is Air Canada. He said their planes are awesome. All right, we got to move on. So let's say we're working at a concert hall, which actually my brother back in college worked at the LC, which now is called Express Live, whatever. But to me, it'll always be the LC, the outdoor amphitheater concert space downtown. Really sweet. If you've never been to a concert there, try to get out there. At some point when you guys are in high school, you guys have a sweet town that you live in, so go experience things. Well, let's say we're determining the ticket cost. Now, the band that's performing wants to get $20 from every ticket that we sell. So we have to give that to the band. That would just be break even. I would not make any money. So my boss tells me, look, the band wants $20. Increase that by 90%. Make that the ticket price. So I want you guys to try to find what is the new ticket price after we increase. So give it a second, and then I'll bring us back together. Or like try it for a second. I'll bring us back together. If you can't do it, it's okay. Just try and figure out what we're doing for this situation. If it's what? Yeah, so we need to first find the dollar amount of markup. And that is really a part. So if you're struggling to get started, the first thing we want to do is find the amount, not percent, but the amount of markup, which really is a part. And we can use the same formula we've been using for weeks. To find a part, it's your percent times your whole. So what is the percent that my boss has told me to mark this up by? Mainly that might not work well if you need the handheld. That sharpener sometimes eats pencils. I've sharpened through a whole pencil in there and not gotten a tip that could write. What is my percent? CJ, what did my boss tell me to mark these up by? 90%. So when I write that in my formula, I'm going to write it as 0.9 if we want to be accurate. Then times the whole value. Well, what would we use as our whole value here, Xavier? Yeah, the 20, what I know the price kind of was, or what the cost is, what the band wants to make. Hayden, do you have that? 18. So does that mean we're selling the tickets for $18? That wouldn't make any sense.
No.
Because then we'd lose money. This is the amount we're marking up by. Well, what are we marking up? The 20. So to find your final price, You take the 20 and add the markup, and we will charge $38 for each ticket. Any questions? Did you get it? Okay. Otherwise, I have mechanical pencils that you could use. Any questions? This is where people will make mistakes, so please give me your attention. Markdowns, and this is why I didn't like when we put original on the denominator, why I had you guys change that to previous. When we're doing a markdown, it is the change that we've made divided by what the price just was, like the higher price that it was. So here, my shirt didn't sell. $28, probably too expensive to charge for a t-shirt. We mark it down. We decide to decrease the price to 21 bucks. So an employee does this, they're like, hey, I decreased the price. I changed all the tags. I'm like, well, what percent did you decrease it by? We need to make a sign. And they're like, I don't know, I just made it $21. Okay, well, let's figure out what percent you decreased it by. So to do my percent markdown, I take the markdown amount, which we know is 7, and I divide it by what I was trying to sell it for, not what I currently am trying to sell it for. So what was my previous price here? Casey? The 28. This can actually reduce really nicely.
It would be 4.
Close. You're in the reciprocal. If you guys have ever seen Stranger Things,
Yes.
the upside down place just makes me think of reciprocals.
No.
The upside down place.
I know. Yeah. I know.
So you were in the upside down. Or it's really 1/4. But what percent does that come out? Yeah. 25%. So we could make a sign that says 25% off of the original price. Yeah. Yep.
When my mom bought it, there was like 10 over it. I took off the tag. There was like another one.
Yeah.
I still went higher and higher.
Yeah. So, some things get decreased multiple times, like over and over and over again, and then eventually, and we actually, so it's really funny that you just said that, CJ, because you just gave me the perfect segue. So a segue, like a transition. So CJ, if you didn't hear him or if you're being rude and talking over top of people, CJ was just talking about the fact that he bought a shirt that had been discounted and kept peeling off the tags, and it had been discounted over and over and over again. And eventually, like let's say you're at Phoenix Fair. Lily has an hour left, and she still has 20 jars. Do you think she wants to take 20 jars home with her? No. What could we do if we don't care anymore about making profit, but we just want to sell my stuff? Lower the price, and we could go all the way down to what we had paid for it. So this is going to suck because we're going to have like days between when I see you. But now what we're talking about, and we're going to start this really quickly, what if we don't care about making profit, we just want to get rid of the item? I could sell it for what I bought it for. So this store bought these sofas for $835. They had been trying to sell it for $1,599. It did not work. They've marked it down multiple times, did not work. So now they're going to take it from the price that it was, which a lot of times they always tell you what the price was because they want you to feel like you're getting a good deal. And we're going to take it all the way down to the price, and you could just make like a little tag here if you want or something. We're just going to charge $835. We're not going to make profit. We just want to get rid of this couch. Yeah. So, when we pick this back up, what we're going to solve is what is the percentage off that takes them all the way there. Thank you guys very much. Chapter 2 Mastery tomorrow. There will be no new homework for the rest of the week. Just try to get 3, 5, 3, 6 done, and then you're done with Chapter 3. There's no other Chapter 3 homework beyond the 3, 5, 3, 6. Thank you guys very much.
Oh, yeah.
You guys giving that to him? What's up?
That reminds me. Like, last year we went to New